The Mi 4S has arrived on the heels of Xiaomi's latest flagship, the Mi 5. With similar specifications and a slightly lower $260 price tag in China, the Mi 4S may be an attractive alternative for some. Hey, what's up guys? This is Bailey Stein with Android Authority, and you're watching our video review of the Xiaomi Mi 4S. On the outside, the Mi 4S sports dual glass panels held together with a curved metal frame. It looks somewhat similar to the OnePlus X, but it's definitely different in a few ways. The glass on the Mi 4S isn't curved, and there's a sort of patterned rear design on the gold and pink models. Just as was the case with the Mi 5, the glass on the back, while nice in the hand, does present a few major problems. It can be a fingerprint magnet, especially if you purchase the black model. The glass also makes the phone very slippery on soft surfaces, and full disclosure, our unit's display actually cracked after slipping off a 3-foot tall windowsill onto a hardwood floor. While the crack is relatively minor, it does raise some questions about durability and whether the choice to exclude Gorilla Glass 4 was a good one. With that aside, the Mi 4S feels good in the hand and certainly feels more chunky than the Mi 5 did without any curved sides. The power and volume keys provided great tactile feedback, and the IR blaster on the top left can be useful for controlling televisions and other household appliances. Coming to the front, you'll find a multicolored notification LED to the right of the 5-megapixel f2.0 front-facing camera, which produces some respectable looking selfies. Finally, there's 3 illuminated capacitive keys at the bottom, which deviate from the Mi 5's bottom keys, but are true to Xiaomi's standardized design. Those with smaller hands will appreciate the Mi 4S's 5-inch 1080p display, which makes the Mi 4S easier to hold and operate. While we generally preferred the Mi 5's display for its more relaxed color reproduction and deeper blacks, the display here is nothing to scoff at. There's plenty of saturation and vibrance, in addition to very good contrast and excellent viewing angles. Sunlight readability was also very impressive, as we had expected. With a Qualcomm Snapdragon 808, the Mi 4S is a very good performer, offering up little to no lag, even with heavy use. While the 808 isn't quite as fast as the 820, it's virtually impossible to notice a difference without comparing the two side by side, thanks in part to the Mi 4S's healthy amount of 4GB of RAM. The Adreno 418 also does a nice job in ensuring a good gaming experience, although it may show its age when playing the most intensive of games. However, we didn't have any problems when playing high-end games like Asphalt 8 Airborne. Call quality on the Mi 4S was just as good as we had expected, but we should note that this device does not support 4G LTE within the US, as you will be limited to HSPA Plus on AT&T in all areas and HSPA Plus on T-Mobile in most areas. This is an unlocked dual SIM device, and you can even insert a microSD card into one of the slots to expand the device's 64GB of internal storage, so you shouldn't have to worry about running out of space. The fingerprint reader on the back of the Mi 4S is fairly fast and accurate. It's not as fast as the one we found on the Mi 5, but it does a nice job in comparison to other phones like the Nexus 6P. We were happy to see Xiaomi adopt the USB Type-C 1.0 standard on the Mi 4S, and we're pleased with the symmetrical speaker grills on the sides of the USB Type-C port. Unfortunately, only the grill on the right is a speaker, but it's impressively loud, considerably louder than the Mi 5 actually, despite sounding a bit more distorted and tinny at higher volumes.
So let's run, make a great escape, and I'll be waiting outside for the getaway.
We were surprised to find that the Mi 4S wasn't able to keep up with the Mi 5 during our battery life tests, despite having a larger 3080 mAh internal battery. We did notice excessive battery life use by the Android system, which may be the result of less than perfect software optimization, which likely can and may be fixed with a future OTA update. However, battery life was still very impressive, and average users should be able to get about a day and a half of use, while heavy users can expect a full day. With a 13-megapixel rear camera, the Mi 4S produced some very nice looking images and good lighting, with plenty of dynamic range, detail, and sharpness. In addition, HDR did work very well in our testing. While the camera on the Mi 4S may not be as good as the Mi 5's, and the difference can be very apparent in some situations, like low light, it's surprisingly close in many situations. The dual LED flash is also nice for helping even out skin tones, but OIS is unfortunately absent. That doesn't do low light performance any favors. It's definitely not bad in comparison to other devices within the same price category, but do be aware that it may be disappointing for those wanting to capture images in darker environments. Thankfully, the camera software shipping with the Mi 4S is the same found on the Mi 5. It's easy to use in auto mode, but can also be very powerful in manual mode, offering control over white balance, focus, exposure time, and ISO. Xiaomi has included its custom version of Android, MIUI 7. It's running on top of Android 5.1.1 Lollipop, which was a bit odd to see, but given that many of the newer Android features like Google Now and Tap are not implemented in MIUI anyway, it shouldn't really be a major issue for most users. MIUI does offer a lot of great features in addition to a considerable amount of customization options, which will certainly appeal to Android enthusiasts. For example, MIUI has a respectable theme store allowing users to change the look of the entire UI. There's also advanced features built in like call recording and scheduled battery life profile changes. If you are importing the device from China, there's a good chance that your device will come pre-installed with bloatware and possibly even malware, so it's a good idea to flash the global ROM in order to return to stock MIUI, with Google Apps and Services and the ability to receive Xiaomi's weekly updates. However, Xiaomi has started locking bootloaders and some resellers have blocked updating through the Updater app. So you'll have to unlock the bootloader if you want to avoid potential malware, a process which can take up to 10 days and remove some features like Xiaomi's Find My Phone. You can pick up the Mi 4S in China in either black, white, gold, or pink for $16.99 renminbi, or about $262. The Mi 4S continues Xiaomi's trend of releasing great phones for relatively affordable prices. It has a very nice display, performs impressively for the price, has excellent battery life, and produces good-looking images. However, it's not available in the US, nor does it support US 4G LTE, the camera does not perform well in low-light conditions, and it ships with an outdated version of Android. Although we enjoyed our time with the Mi 4S and appreciate Xiaomi's efforts, the Mi 5 is just a better option for $50 more, and those on a budget should consider the less expensive Redmi Note 3 instead. In 2015, Xiaomi released 11 smartphones, and that's not even counting Pro and other variants. We feel that Xiaomi may be cannibalizing its own market by releasing so many different models at similar price points when each model is only marginally different. If you are interested in learning more about the Mi 4S, we have an even more comprehensive review up on Android Authority, with benchmark scores, battery life screenshots, more camera samples, and a detailed look into MIUI. Thank you for watching our video review of the Xiaomi Mi 4S. If you have any questions about this device or anything else Android related, please do hit us up on Snapchat for a chance at being featured in our upcoming Snapchat Q&A show. Finally, be sure to visit the Android Authority website for additional coverage, as we are your source for all things Android.